Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to another commentary. If you enjoyed this video at any point, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. If you love Batman and DC Comics and all of that good stuff, let's get right into it. And the topic of the day is pissed off DC fans. Now, this is something that happens quite a bit. As DC fans, we tend to get quite upset pretty often, and that happens to be because DC and Warner Brothers are run kind of by idiots at times. And it's not only that, they're run by people who don't even like the source material. And that's one of the biggest problems that I'll get into later. But in this case, I'm actually quite happy with the news and information that everybody else is so pissed about. So what's the news? The news is that rather than making a Batman Beyond movie after the Flashpoint phenomenon that's going to be happening in the Flashpoint movie coming out in 2022, Michael Keaton's Batman is going to be involved. Michael Keaton is now almost 70 years old, but he's going to be, again, sort of that old Bruce Wayne, Batman Beyond type mentor figure in the Flashpoint film, which I think is great. That'll probably play really well. Additionally, in that movie, they're going to have their final farewell to the Ben Affleck Bruce Wayne, so kind of merging the 1989 Batman with the DCEU universe, and it's all going to come together for Flashpoint, and it'll be pretty sick. I'm really excited for that. And in Flashpoint, rumors are now that Batgirl is going to be introduced into the movie, and that Flashpoint is going to create BATGIRL Beyond, and then there's going to be a BATGIRL Beyond movie that is in the DC streaming service, basically, which is HBO Max. Now, you guys know me. I'm something of a Batgirl simp, as we may say. I'm a huge Batgirl fan, especially if this is Barbara Gordon Batgirl, and if it's not, I'm not really interested. I mean, I've had these debates online with people, and Barbara Gordon to me is the definitive Batgirl. She's the original Batgirl. And not only that, I mean, she is far and away the best. The red hair that she has is iconic. Stephanie Brown is pretty good. Cassandra Cain is good. Keep in mind, Cassandra Cain is now in the Birds of Prey movie. In the DCEU, she's like this 14-year-old young child. So that certainly would not work for this. So it's either going to be Barbara Gordon or Stephanie Brown. We'll have to wait and see who it is. But keep in mind that the original draft for this Batgirl movie that's been in development hell for years is Barbara Gordon. So it likely will be Barbara Gordon based upon the New 52 run, which is the best run of Batgirl in the comics. But this is all an aside. I mean, people are livid. People are livid with the concept of a Batgirl Beyond movie instead of doing Terry McGinnis, when so many people want a live-action Batman Beyond movie. And frankly, I get that. Again, I'm again something of a Batgirl simp, so I'm very excited and would prefer this over Terry McGinnis Batman, which I know will get me dislike bombed. That's just my personal opinion, though. I mean, everyone has their own tastes and preferences. I've always wanted a Barbara Gordon live-action movie, just in the same way that I've wanted a Dick Grayson and Jason Todd live-action movie. And this all makes sense, by the way. I mean, look at Gotham Knights and what Gotham Knights is. Especially if that's successful, they're going to make their parlay into making individual movies for all of these B-list Bat family characters. Dick Grayson, Jason Todd, Terry McGinnis likely. So I think that this Batgirl Beyond movie is going to create the opportunity for Terry McGinnis to be potentially introduced, and I would be an advocate for that. I would love to see a Terry McGinnis movie. But at the same point, I don't know that we got enough of Bruce Wayne Batman to truly respect a Terry McGinnis Batman. If you think about it, we might get a trilogy with Terry McGinnis Batman. We didn't even get that with Ben Affleck. We didn't even get one standalone Batman movie. So it makes a great deal of sense for Bruce Wayne to be handing the mantle of, his status as the protector of Gotham to Barbara Gordon at the end of the Flashpoint film. And that seems to be something that makes a decent amount of sense, although they did not set Barbara Gordon up at all in Batman v Superman or Justice League. But here's the interesting thought. Now, and I'm kind of going all over the place, but think about this. What if these Flashpoint elements are somehow introduced in Justice League? Of course, in Batman v Superman, as many of you know, there was this Flashpoint scene that is literally from the Flashpoint movie. We're going to get an explanation of what happened in BVS, where Flash time travels into Bruce's frame and universe, and basically starts communicating with him and warns him. And then that's all that happens of it. And then the Justice League cinematic cut that was botched by Joss Whedon, this horrible kind of mediocre Avengers movie that he made, a knockoff Avengers movie with DC characters that was just really quite underwhelming. There basically was no explanation of what happened. Like, where is Flash coming from? What was the warning? How did that affect the timeline? And Zack Snyder's going to get to finally realize his vision, and he's going to be able to explain what that scene fully meant. And that is going to, I think, set up Flashpoint. And if nothing else, if we don't get an explanation for it in Batman v Superman, we certainly will in the Flashpoint movie in 2022. But I think that they're going to relate together pretty closely. And there's going to be this broader overarching plan to connect the Flashpoint movie with the Batman v Superman film. Moreover, in in Justice League, the Snyder Cut of Justice League coming out this year, now we can say, on HBO Max, we're probably going to get an explanation as to what that Flash scene really meant and entailed for the future of the DCEU. But fans are very upset that this is a Batgirl Beyond movie rather than a Batman Beyond movie with Terry McGinnis or some other Bat Family character. Of course, Dick Grayson is allegedly the Robin that was killed in this universe, not Jason Todd or Tim Drake. So Jason Todd may still be around somewhere. That would also be really fascinating if somehow in the Snyder Cut of Justice League we got to see some setup with Tim Drake or Jason Todd and setting up the Batgirl movie to potentially involve those characters as well. Again, from WB's perspective, setting up Gotham Knights, this huge multi-million dollar video game that they're making with these 4 characters, it makes sense that they're going to invest in the movie side of these characters as well. Famously, everybody knows that they were making a Nightwing movie and a Batgirl movie. And my hope is that with HBO Max, with how many movies are being greenlit, we're finally going to get some Bat Family movies with some B-list Bat Family characters. You know, the way that I see it when it comes to Bat Family is Bruce Wayne is A tier and everybody's below him. That's basically how it works. And there are a lot of other great characters. You know, we all love Alfred and Barbara Gordon and Dick Grayson and Jason Todd and Terry McGinnis and all the others. But, you know, Batman obviously is the most well-known comic book character ever created in human history. Debatable that Spider-Man might be, but I would probably argue that in terms of pop culture influence through the films and whatnot, I would say that Bruce Wayne and Batman is the most influential comic book character ever made. So therefore, given that context, then I don't really see a way that more is not explored in the Batman lore and universe, because we did not get that Batman solo movie with Ben Affleck, and we're never going to get it. It was a Arkham Asylum thriller psychological piece where it was a fully set in the asylum, just like in the Arkham Asylum video game. I mean, I would have killed for that movie. I would have killed for it. Unfortunately, we're just not going to get it. We're never going to get it. So I really hope 2 things. 1, in Justice League, we're going to get more setup with these Bat Family characters. We're going to get to expand the lore of the Bat Family in the DCEU. 2, I hope that Flashpoint builds upon the Flash Easter egg in Batman v Superman, which is, again, Flash time traveling, speaking to Bruce Wayne in the Batcave, and explaining what that all meant, because Joss Whedon totally threw it out, because Joss Whedon is basically a schmuck, and he doesn't really understand that fans can follow pretty complex timelines and plot lines. And he just approaches it like Marvel movies. We want to make everything pretty, low-level, kind of mindless entertainment, and that's all that Justice League was. It's like, oh, look here, boob joke with Wonder Woman. Haha, isn't this so great? And it's like, no, Joss, this fucking sucks. You suck. I mean, I think that the Snyder Cut is going to blow that movie out of the water. It is going to make Joss Whedon look like an amateur, because he is. I mean, he's so mediocre in every way. And he, by the way, was associated with this Batgirl movie. And thank the Lord he's out of here, because he was going to make some garbage tier Batgirl movie, because he's a creep and a weirdo, and he probably would have just had all these weird boob scenes like he did with Flash falling on Wonder Woman's boobs in Justice League. I mean, it's so ridiculous that he thought that that was entertainment, when I'm sure that Zack had a really compelling story to tell. So it's great that we finally get to realize that vision, and now people are pushing for the Ayer cut. I'm going to say that's going to be a tougher sell for people. They're not going to hop on board with the Ayer cut because they hated Suicide Squad. But once again, with Suicide Squad, basically, David Ayer made what I believe to be a solid film. If we were to truly get his cut of the movie, I think we would watch it and say, this is an 8 out of 10. Solid movie. Really good. Now, I love the theatrical cut of Suicide Squad, but I'm a show for the DCEU, so I'm a bit biased. But putting that aside, I think that the cut of that film made by him is genuinely solid. But that movie was edited by a trailer company. You can look it up. That is the only film with that high of a budget that has ever been edited by a company that is not a film production company. It is a trailer cutting company. Robert Meyer Burnett, who is John Campia's kind of, colleague and whatnot, who has been in the industry for a long time, says it is the worst edited film that he has ever seen. And he's been in the industry for decades. He said it is the worst edited film he has ever seen. And many other people have said that. I mean, it's self-evidently true. It's cut like a music video. It is cut like a trailer. And it turns out that when your first 20 minutes of the movie is just random music flashing up on the screen, random text, that, by the way, was all Jeff Johns' idea. It was all Jeff Johns. You can look into you can research it, and you will see that this is all Jeff Johns, and he's pretty much out of the loop now after Wonder Woman 84. He was heavily involved in the story with that film, which has received pretty mixed reviews. I happen to quite like Wonder Woman 84, but a lot of people did not. But the point being that Zack Snyder has his faults, and he's not perfect by any means. He's not a necessarily, I would say, legendary director. I think the way in which he incorporates score and cinematography is really like God tier. It's super good. But he has weaknesses, just like every director. His story can suffer at times and can become a little bit too convoluted, particularly for general audiences. It can become, his stories can be a little bit too drawn out for general audiences as well. I thought that there was a lot in BVS that could have been trimmed out, given that, the bullet in the desert scene was just highly unnecessary. And it could have been a little bit more direct with the plot between Batman and Superman. So there are faults in the movie, even though it is one of my favorite comic book movies of all time. But for general audiences, it was a little bit of a reach for some people. And I think marketing a movie as Batman v Superman probably needed a little bit more fighting between those two characters as a comic book action film. So there's some level of compromise to be had between the Zack Snyder and Joss Whedon vision of what a superhero movie is, but I'm certainly more on the side of Zack Snyder than Joss Whedon, especially given the product that we received with the Justice League film, which was Garbaggio. So very excited to see the Snyder Cut, and again, given this whole news with Batgirl Beyond, which I'm extremely excited for, and especially if it's Barbara Gordon, Batgirl Beyond, HBO Max movie. I mean, I'm so excited for that in the future of the DCU. And as fans, I really want us all to unite behind these movies. I mean, I understand that Barbara Gordon being Batgirl Beyond is not your cup of tea necessarily, but I really want these movies to do well. I really, really do. Even if you look at them and say, okay, this isn't really what I wanted, or this is just B tier, whatever. I think it's very important as fans that we support this, because what's going to happen if these movies tank, we're not going to get DC movies for another 5 years. AT&T is going to go back to the drawing board. They're going to say, all right, we're not dumping $150 million into these comic book movies anymore. We're just going to make whatever their properties W has. I don't even know. And that would be a shame. That would be a shame if we scare WB off from doing these things and taking risks. Because if they are going to make a Batgirl movie, you know what other movies they'll make? A Terry McGinnis Batman Beyond movie, a Red Hood movie, a fucking, again, Shazam. They already made Shazam. That dude's like a C-list character. I mean, we can go all the way down the line in terms of Justice League characters. A Cyborg movie. People are really high on Ray Fisher right now and want him to be involved in the DCU. I think his career is pretty much over with WB, given that he is now attacking Walter Hamada, who just had his contract expired. So I don't foresee that happening. But I mean, think about the possibilities and opportunities that will arise for us when it comes to Bat Family movies and beyond that. Green Lantern movies. I mean, so much great stuff can come of this if these movies are successful. If they're not, and if people are like, oh, I don't want Batgirl. Oh, Batgirl sucks. I only want Terry McGinnis. And, the movie has a horrible opening weekend. Nobody buys tickets. Nobody buys HBO Max subscriptions. Then they're going to say, oh, well, we're scrapping all this. Fans aren't into it. This is a waste of money. We waste all our time. Let's work on fucking some Friends spinoff series. I mean, that's literally how they think. They look at the dollars and cents and they say, is this making money? Check box if yes. Check box if no. It makes money? Yes. Do more. It doesn't make money? No. Do less. I mean, and that's what I'm concerned about Wonder Woman, which has not really been super successful for them with signups. They're going to get cold feet real quick. And that's what we need to be careful with as fans. So I fully encourage your commentary as someone who's a huge Batgirl fan. I'm obviously incredibly biased towards getting a Barbara Gordon Batgirl movie. I understand that a lot of you are not jumping for joy at this right now. But I want you all to also think of, your time watching the animated series and understanding that Barbara Gordon's actually a really relatable character. And not only that this movie provides the opportunity for Dick Grayson to get involved. They're love interests, after all. So this could easily become a Batgirl Nightwing duo movie. So I think people should be vocal in making it known that they'd like to see Dick Grayson or other characters involved, and that you don't necessarily love the idea of a Batgirl solo movie. I think that's fine. But I also don't want people to get in this mindset of like, this sucks. I'm not doing this. I don't care. Because you're basically, you realize that you're literally sabotaging everybody. Like, you're sabotaging every movie that we want to see. And they have a list of basically 6 movies that they want to go through right now. And if there are troubles and these movies aren't successful, well, say goodbye to DC movies for the next 5 years. It's going to be the same thing that we had between 2016 with BVS and now in 2021, which was basically WB getting cold feet about everything, not really making one installments into the DCEU. You know, they obviously did Joker, and they've done one movie a year, maybe one every other year. But I think that we know that they could easily be pumping out 3 to 4 fantastic DC movies a year. We should be getting TV spin-off shows, all these other things. Do we really want CW to be the only ones making DC television shows, or do we want fucking HBO Max to be doing this? Do we really want Batgirl, the movie, to flop and then the Dick Grayson Nightwing movie gets canceled? I don't think so. So I think that it's important that we make our opinions known on what we want to see, whilst also being supportive of what WB and HBO Max are putting out. And that starts with supporting the Snyder Cut, whether you think Snyder is a hack or not. I don't think it matters. I think you should really, and again, I'm not some shill for Warner Brothers trying to make them money. I just think that it would be a real shame if this whole effort flopped for them and they get cold feet and then again start making fucking Friends spin-off shows or whatever to cash grab on HBO Max. I really want them to invest in the DCEU, and I hope that they will continue to do that with our support of their content as well. So thank you guys for tuning into this video. Be sure to give the video, again, a like, rating if you enjoyed, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and give me your thoughts on everything that I've said in this commentary. I know I've said many things that some will disagree with, and that's perfectly fine. That's what makes this all fun. So I'll see you guys in the comments. I'll chat with you there. See you in the next video. Peace out.